Hello everybody, how are you? I'm sitting by the fire and I thought I'm gonna record a little video for you. Today I want to talk about the difference between, doing something to impress and doing something to move. And there's a significant difference that really, makes the difference between us as humans feeling satisfied and like we're moving with purpose and we're contributing to the world, and the other is more actually adds to dissatisfaction. And I feel like a lot of us are so busy all the time with trying to find our purpose and trying to be somebody in the world and trying to make things happen, and we're not stopping and getting out of this very tense or stressed energy, this lack energy, which is not contributing to our life. Especially now in the times we're living in, it's getting more and more important to come into our own. So what does it mean, come into your own? It really means, taking a breath, and I speak about this a lot. So if this is a repetition, just shows how important it is that we keep on, building on that topic. So we have some fire ASMR as well. Okay, let's get into it. So, do you do whatever you do in life to impress people, or do you do it to move people? So maybe think about your job. Think about you posting something on social media. You doing something for your family and friends, the way that you dress, you inviting people, you going somewhere to an event. Is this because, you want to be moved and you want to move people from a honest, curious place and from a loving place? Or is this to be seen, to be impressed, to impress? There's a distinct energy between the two. Between, the energy of wanting to impress and doing things, no matter if it's in work or private life or whatever. I see so many people, just to give you an example, I see so many people that are starting to wanting to become breathwork facilitators or healers, therapists. And a lot of these people, and there's no judgment, it's just an observation. I get that. Maybe I've had moments like that as well, for sure, actually, in my journey. But a lot of these people, sometimes don't do things for the right reasons. We all sometimes don't do things for the right reasons. That's why it's so good to check in with yourself and understand, wait, am I doing this to impress, to be seen, to be recognized as great, or to be validated? Or am I doing this because it's really calling me? And because I really want to move people, because this moved me too, or something like this moved me too. So for example, there's so many people that now want to become some sort of wellness facilitators or healing facilitators. And, often people don't do it for the right reasons. Often people do it because they feel like, oh, this is going to make them somebody in the world. This is going to make them feel like they're now purposeful and somebody. But they're not doing it because they really feel called to do it. And I'm sure I've had a time in the beginning when I just discovered that I want to work with people, and these modalities that I learned from breathwork over sound healing to somatic therapy. I had moments where I was so wanting to go down that rabbit hole and so curious, and that just felt for me so, energizing and moving. It moved me, so I wanted to forward what moved me to move others, because it just felt so incredible to me. But I've surely had moments also where I felt like, where you need to check in with your ego and be like, oh, wait, this is actually not about me. You know, like this is not making me somebody. Maybe I found my calling, but I can be humbled as well, right? Like I don't need to define myself as a therapist or a healer or whatever name you want to give this, or whatever other industry this could happen in. You know, in the startup industry as well, there have been times when everybody wanted to be a startup founder, and everybody put into their LinkedIn profile, founder, 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 founder. And I feel like that's valid, yes, founder, whatever. But I feel like when you use a title to define who you are or validate who you are, it's not very healthy. You know, if everything was taken away from you tomorrow, who are you then? So that's why it's so important to find grounding and find value in who you are without the house, without the car, without the title, without the followers. You know, it's so important to not attach too much to all these things. Yeah, but to move from the heart and to know that if everything was taken away tomorrow, yeah, that's difficult and that's a challenge, but you are still who you are, and you can focus on rooting into who you are and starting over. So that's why I always like to, you know, like when people come to me and are so focused on having that title or getting that thing, I always focus on bringing you into your center, into realizing who am I at the root without all these things around me. Yeah, these things are second. First thing is finding truth, finding strength in yourself. And when you do that, you're also moving from a place of detachment. And I don't mean that we need to live in complete and total detachment. We're not gurus on the mountain. These times are not realistic for the majority of society. But that doesn't mean you cannot be enlightened, whatever that means. Yeah, every human had enlightening moments in their life. Yeah, and we don't need to put that word on a pedestal. We just need to realize these are little flickers of realization, of consciousness, of awareness, where we get an insight into another opportunity or another option, another perspective of seeing things, life, ourselves, you know, relationships. So when we talk about doing things to move people, to move ourselves, that the feeling of that, of really, you know, doing something from a place of alignment, from a place of truth, from a place of wanting to impact, yeah, positively impact, that is so fulfilling. And when we move from a place of wanting to impress, that energy is very taking. That's a really taking energy. And when you move from a place of wanting to move people, that's a giving energy. Yeah. So if you want to impress people, it's like a very nervous energy. It's a very, you know, like gripping onto something in the outside world. See me, you know, energy, taking energy. It's like when people speak about energy vampires or something like that, we've all been there, we've all done that in one way or another, whenever you wanted to impress somebody. Yeah, and that's okay. It's human too. It's just about realizing, oh, I'm doing it. You know, I'm not saying that to shame or blame anybody. We've all been there in some way. But it's powerful to realize, what am I doing? Where am I investing so much energy to actually take, to actually get somebody's attention? It's kind of like, do you see me? Do you see me? You know? And it can also feel bitter and frustrating when we're not feeling like we're being seen. And that's because we're so attached to it that we're not getting it. And when you detach and when you decide to do something to impact, to move people, it's so powerful because it's a giving energy. And it makes you focus on what you want to create, what you want to impact, the impact you want to create, the positive impact you want to create. And it takes away the ego and the, oh, how am I going to look while doing it? What are people going to think while I do it? It takes it all away because the mission, the whatever you want to create, the goal is so much bigger than this little human. The goal is so much bigger than what are people going to think about me. The goal is more about, am I going to create an impact for people? Can I move people like this? Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you're an artist of any kind. Maybe you're a healer or a therapist. Maybe you're a motivational speaker. Maybe you have a product. Yeah, and then it's really about how can I create an incredible experience for people. Even if you're working in a bake shop, in a bakery, if you're working in a hair salon, if you're working in a restaurant and you're a server, it plays out for everybody. How can I create the best experience for this person today that's coming in with their family or by themselves or whatever? How can I create, how can I positively impact this person? And when you go in with this mindset, your day can just go well because you're not, oh, I'm still working in this shop. What will I ever become? No, if you go like this and you're kind of in this self-pity or in this feeling of, I'm nobody, I don't want to be here, this is not what I want to do. You know what? You don't have to be there forever, even if it's a job you don't like at all. You don't have to be there forever. You can, find a way out. But as you are still bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you can still impact people positively. Even if it's, like cleaning their house or making an ice cream for them. You can focus on what you're giving. You can focus on positively impacting other people. And sometimes, it sounds so cheesy, but sometimes just being super kind to somebody who hasn't experienced kindness in a minute, and you're being the one, even if they don't realize it, or even if they don't treat you nicely. You don't need to go to other people's level. You can still be very kind and see that maybe they've had a shitty day. Maybe they're not okay. Instead of taking it personally. Yeah? Like, imagine every time somebody would come to me, in a shitty mood or whatever, and I would treat them as shitty. Or I would, treat them as shitty. We don't have to, we often think, and that's a very childish way of, it's a very immature way of meeting people. When we feel, it's a very defensive way. And again, no judgment, we've all been there. I've definitely been there. When somebody is standing in line with you in a shop and you're waiting to, order your coffee or your groceries or whatever, and somebody's like, mean or skipping the line or whatever. I've had moments where I was like, hey dude, what the F is going on? What are you doing? Or who's mean to me and I'm like, getting triggered. But I've become very thoughtful around that in terms of, I don't need to bounce that energy back to them. I don't need to meet that energy. I can stay in my energy. I can stay where I am. And that's why it's so important for you to detach from, trying to impress and trying to please and trying to be somebody else for somebody. You're not here to be somebody else for somebody. You're here to be yourself and to get to know yourself and to ground into the safety and anchor into yourself. Because when you know you, like I said yesterday in the video, when you know you and you're steadfast in who you are, that's when you create impact. And you don't need to meet other people's energy when they are grumpy and meeting you grumpy. You can still be kind. You can still have a standard for yourself, and you can still decide, I'm not going to go down to that level. I'm still going to be kind. And if I need to draw a boundary here, then I can tell them, look, I don't like the way you're talking to me right now. It's not okay. Yeah. But just a simple example. But, you know, if you want to make a difference for yourself in your life, if you want to feel better, you don't need to wait until you are somewhere else. You don't need to wait until you are in your dream job, until you're married, until you are a millionaire, all this BS. No, you can start right now, just by having a standard for yourself and the way that you want to live. And I often see that very sensitive people, often very sensitive people grow up in a way that they learn to adapt to the world around them, to the people around them. And that's often starting with their caretakers, their parents, siblings, school, teachers, peers. And as you're adapting to others, you feel like you need to match them. And that happens in childhood. So when you're an adult, it's in your system and you don't even think about it. It feels just so natural for you to do that. But it's really important to stop for a minute and realize, wait, how do I want to act? How do I want to be today? You know, what is the energy that I want to bring to this day, to the restaurant, to the office, to the bakery, to the gallery, wherever you are. And when you do realize that you can decide and get intentional about what energy you bring to the table, to the day, to your family, to your partner, to yourself, that's when everything changes. Yeah, that's when new possibilities open up and you realize, whoa, I don't need to be caught in that. But it's an active stepping out of, because when we feel like we are, this is the automated way of moving in the world, then we need to sit ourselves down and realize, wait, where did I learn to adapt? Where did I learn that I need to match other people's energy like that? Yeah, and often it comes back to childhood in some way. And that you did that in order to stay safe, in order to be accepted, loved, to get fed, whatever. Yeah? But you need to realize, I'm not the child anymore. Thank you, child. Thank you, inner child, for keeping me safe, for adapting as long as you did. But now, actually, it's not serving us anymore. I want to thank you, and I want to take over because I'm an adult now. And now I will steer our ship. And my intention is to move people. You know, in my work, I want to move people. Sometimes people don't even know all the emotions they carry inside. Sometimes people are numb. Sometimes people are blamey and reactive, and they think what I do, it's not going to do anything for them. And that's okay. I love when people are skeptical. And I love to move people. So you need to let yourself be moved in order to let something move through you, something higher power. No matter if this plays out for you in cooking, in hairdressing, in healing, in landscaping, whatever you do in your life. Yeah, but you need to let yourself be moved by life. So what moves you? And then feel that energy and bring it through you, through your work, through the way that you are with people, and what do I mean with let it move you? We often numb ourselves and don't want to go back and look at the past and what hurt us. And I'm not saying you should dwell in the past. That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying, actually. But sometimes we need to go and realize what hurt and feel that hurt, because then we alchemize it and we transform it into strength, because we realize, I don't want that other people suffer the way that I suffered. Or I don't want to be poor like my family was poor. Or I don't want to be treated in the way that I was treated. Or whatever is that for you, you know? And move with that intention. It can be self-fulfilling, or it can be a mission that is more people-oriented. Yeah, both is okay. There's nothing right or wrong with that. You know, sometimes people say, oh my God, I want to really, understand money because I never want to be poor again like I was poor. Or sometimes people say, I really want to help people because I felt so helpless as a child. Or I really want to become a doctor because, one of my family members, I felt I couldn't help them, or there was no cure, and I really want to contribute in finding cures for people. Whatever it is for you, even if, everything is valid. I'm trying to find another nice example. So for example, maybe you loved your grandmother and she was a chef, or she was a pastry chef, or she loved to cook and she taught you everything you know. So maybe you want to open a restaurant, a family restaurant, because you feel like, I want to bring forward the traditions of my family, and you're proud, and you don't want those recipes and traditions to die. So you want to share it with people in community. Yeah, like all these things, you just got to find yours. What is yours? And understand your own history, understand how you feel, but and then bring that into the world as your purpose. Because when we do things to impress people, we are not connected to ourselves. We're not connected to our roots. We're not connected to what actually moves us. What is important to us? What hurt us? All these things. Don't push them away, because you've experienced them for a reason. And sometimes it's not that you need to live in the past. It's not that you need to go back there and stay there. But it's really helpful to acknowledge what happened within you in certain situations. And then only if we acknowledge it, we can make a change for ourselves, for maybe the children you want to have and grow, for the people in your community who you want to impact. It's very powerful. So instead of focusing on impressing people and making them like you in some way, and becoming a clown and like trying so hard, you can use that energy to connect to yourself and create something in the world that has power and purpose and your unique signature, your unique frequency, because nobody can be you. And there's so many people who come to me and are like, yeah, but there's so many people that do this and that already. How will I stand out? The work is becoming yourself. The work is realizing who you are and what makes you you, your uniqueness. And here's the hard thing, accepting it. Because most people want to create something big and impress people, but they are not accepting themselves. And when you start accepting who you are, who you truly are, with all your gifts and qualities and shadows and mistakes and downfalls and everything, that is when you start impacting people. And that is when people are going to be inspired and impressed. Because you're not trying hard. You're just being you. You accepted you. And you represent you in this world, which is the most unique thing you can do. And then there is no competition. There is just you. And everybody else who does what they do and who they are. And that's just powerful. Okay? Just like this message is not going to resonate with everybody, it's going to resonate with the right people. The people that are open to hear this, that resonate with what I have to say in my unique frequency, in the way that I say it. And that's okay. That's all I could hope for. And yeah, that's how we move people and move ourselves. And that's all I have to say for today. The fire's out, lights are out, going home. And I'd be so curious for you to share with me below in the comments what that is for you. What is your thing? It may be weird, it may be quirky, it may be something that you don't expect is unique or your thing. I didn't think I would do what I'm doing, ever. But here we are. So I just want to give you some reassurance and inspiration that being you is enough. But do the work to understand yourself, to meet yourself, to feel yourself, and to accept yourself. That's my message for today. I love you, and I see you in the next video. Ciao.